All right, everybody, welcome back. HSC Podcast 96. Got Big Box Steve on the mic, Big Smooth, and Fresh Wes. Fresh off of a cold. So if you're listening on the podcast, sorry, but we'll do our best here. I think the other contestants are feeling good, so they'll be fine. If you are listening on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, thanks for listening. Appreciate the listens. YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like, comment. All right, let's get into it. Winter weather, NFL playoffs, coaching changes, all kinds of stuff happening.
Choke jobs.
Choking in the playoffs.
Well,
The
that's
huge.
nothing unusual for that team.
Yeah. Let's but first, we haven't done trivia in a while, so I was like, Big Smooth's got some trivia.
Yep. Coming off of CJ Stroud's win this last weekend.
Ooh.
Here's only four rookie quarterbacks have won multiple playoff games. Can you name those four?
Oh man. Aaron Rodgers.
Dan Marino.
This is weird. Yeah. Shouldn't it be Dan Marino?
I thought he won in 83. I think he won one game. He won the wild card.
Huh.
I think.
But no, but to win multiple though, right?
Yeah.
Women.
In his rookie year. He didn't win two in his rookie year. He only won one.
It's two multiple.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rodgers, right?
No.
No?
No. Oh, this is hard.
Oh no, Rodgers lost. Brett Favre.
No.
He lost the second game.
One was very recent.
Let's see. Rookies won there.
The Mark Sanchez.
He is one of them, yes. Mark Sanchez, 2009.
Yeah.
Well, Purdy won two last year.
Yes, Purdy, Brock Purdy.
So Purdy, Sanchez. Cam Newton?
No, one of these last two, not this season he did this, but has won a Super Bowl.
One of them has won a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Has one of them been to a lot of NFC championships? The Don McNabb?
No.
No.
One you will never get because I don't even know who he is.
Great. Okay. Well, that helps.
And then one is known for doing well in the playoffs.
Won a Super Bowl.
Joe Montana?
No.
Kenny Stabler.
Oh, Ben Roethlisberger.
No, neither of those. I will say nothing. The earliest is 1985. So we're not going
Tony
70s
Eason
or 60s or anything like that.
Tony Eason wasn't a rookie, though. No, he could have been.
Didn't Roethlisberger win the Super Bowl his first year?
No. Isn't Roethlisberger went to the AFC Championship game his rookie year and got beat by the Patriots. And then the next year he went to the Super Bowl and they beat the Seahawks. It's got to be Roethlisberger, doesn't it?
No, same division.
Oh God.
But it's pre-1985, so it's like Bernie Kosar or something.
No, everything. There's nothing earlier.
Oh, man.
And this one is he's still playing in the league.
Lamar?
No.
Lamar. Oh, you said he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. That should narrow it down.
Oh, Flacco?
Yep. Joe Flacco.
Oh, that's right. It was Flacco.
No.
Who's the other guy?
This other one, I got to look him up because I've never heard of him.
What's his name?
Dieter Brock.
From what year? 85?
85 for the LA Rams.
LA Rams.
Oh, no wonder. Yeah, I have no
Yeah,
idea.
that was the only year
Dieter Brock, I've never even heard of him.
he
Like, I'm
played in
thinking
the
Jim Everett.
CFL. He was in the CFL from 74 to 84.
Oh my God.
And then he went and played for the Rams in 85 and took him to the
Dieter Brock.
um
That's just random.
Brock led the team. Yeah, he was well, it's because they had Dickerson. They lost. Come on, Steve. They lost to the Bears.
I know. I remember seeing highlights of that. I never knew the quarterback's name though.
Dieter Brock.
Yeah,
It's like
and the next season he hurt his knee in the preseason,
Huh.
and the Rams drafted Jim Everett. So that was that.
Yeah, it's all over for him, huh?
But yeah, Dieter Brock, Canadian football Hall of Famer.
So it
yeah.
was Flacco, Purdy, and Sanchez, huh?
Yeah, Dieter Brock. Two-time CFL Most Outstanding Player, Dieter Brock.
Yeah, and so you got CJ Stroud's trying to add to that.
Yes.
I mean, and technically Jordan Love is too, because even though he's not a rookie, he's never played before. It's really kind
Yeah.
of his rookie year.
Right. No, he came in though. He played a few games before though.
Yeah, little bit of garbage time here and there. So before, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about NFL. Just kind of talking about some of the coaching moves. Just recap some of those. Any real big surprises? I mean, so I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I still like it's still kind of weird to me the Patriots. And I mean, I guess I understand that you promise someone that, or they're like molding him for that position, but it seems like kind of a stretch to the head coaching job.
Yeah. You think that Vrabel's out there? I thought,
I
you know,
thought Vrabel would be a
yeah.
pretty solid
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. I mean, that's a safe pick right there. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know where Vrabel's going to go now if you look at it, because you're looking at Belichick to the Falcons,
Right.
Harbaugh to the Chargers.
So, and then I think Vrabel and Quinn are both looking at the Seattle job.
Yeah, which Quinn is the inside on that one.
Yeah, they want Quinn. And I think Quinn wants that job too. I mean, but I don't that's gonna be tough for him to leave Dallas.
Right.
But if they get him, they'll try.
Yeah, because if I'm Vrabel, do I really want the Panthers job? No. Do I really want the Commanders job? No.
Yeah, I'm
The
just
Bears,
surprised that I
the
thought he
Bears
would
should
be a
fire Eberflus and pick up.
I'd take Vrabel in a heartbeat. Yeah, I mean it was just a weird. I really thought he might go to New England, but I guess when you're down, you don't want to necessarily hire a coach who got fired.
Yeah.
yeah.
You're
They
trying to
they had
like change culture.
Well, and
they
that's a
had
total rebuild. I mean, I get it for the Patriots. They're going with the youngest head coach. Let him grow. Let him build the team back up. I think
yeah.
Kraft knows the Patriots are going to be good for a few years. So,
Yeah.
and Vrabel's not going to want that anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's but maybe that's what they're looking at D'Amico Ryans, I suppose,
Yeah.
and the success he's having. This what about some of these college moves? How about Alabama? Why can't I think of his name?
Nick Saban,
No, the Washington
Kyle
coach.
DeBoers.
Yeah, yeah. Is that what do you guys think of that hire?
He's like the new Urban Meyer, right? He's the up and comer who started off and he's just shooting up. goes from college to college and is winning everywhere he's been. So I think he's the
Yeah, I mean I think they're going to be fine. It's just they did lose Bond. They lost their best receiver in the transfer portal. They lost a 5-star recruit. The guys are kind of transferring out, but again, it's Alabama. Alabama will recruit itself. I think he'll be fine. He seems like he's an even keel guy, which is good. So it's time. I don't think it's going to be hard to beat out Georgia. I think Georgia's going to dominate now.
Yeah,
But
so recruiting wise, do you think that gives Georgia the edge now over Alabama?
a slight edge, and when you're fighting for a player, for a 5-star player, I think it does.
now for me, like the big one. This is super helps out Oregon a lot because what did Lanning do? They turned down Alabama.
Turn it down, yeah.
So if you're a college player, you're like, well, he's not going anywhere. If he turns down Alabama, there's no other job that's better than that.
Yeah, that's smart.
So like if you're a college, like that's what happened when Bonds leaves because and these recruits are leaving because like screw this, we wanted to play for Nick Saban.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be a question. I do question the recruiting and how that will affect it without Saban there. I'm not saying because I don't know. I'm not going to judge his recruiting ability at Alabama because you don't know what it is yet, but you do know what Saban was doing and what
Yeah.
Saban had built, and that's
A lot of pressure.
yeah. How do you follow that? How do you maintain that even?
Yeah. And the thing is I mean, I know it's Alabama, but you just lose. Saban retires immediately, and 3 days later he takes that job, and he doesn't even know what he's walking into. He doesn't know the whole story about Saban. I mean, why he kind of I think Saban kind of got sick of it all. Just all the crap that's going on with NIL and all this stuff. But you don't even know what's going. 3 days later, basically you lose, and then you're walking into that. It's like it's a risk, but it's still Alabama. They're still going to be in the playoff most likely. So now you got 12 teams.
Right.
Like I said,
Yeah.
Alabama is going to recruit itself for a little while.
Yeah, I mean that's a benefit, right? I mean, you have a legacy. You're taking that over as long as you don't do anything real stupid. You're not
Yeah.
gonna tank, right?
Yeah, don't be Mike Shula. I mean, don't pull Mike Shula here, man.
Well, and then also we talked about how Washington was built for this year and they were losing tons.
Well, yeah, he knew that.
So he needed to get out or else it would mess up his reputation, right? But the Arizona coach is going in there now.
Yeah,
Right.
Fitch took over. He's a good coach. I mean, I think that's really good for Washington. I mean, trust me, I know Washington people, they're pretty upset, and it sucks that happens. You finally have success at that level, and you get to the national championship, and then you just kind of tank, and then it's like, okay, bye everybody. There goes your program. It's like, yeah, it's
Welcome to the Big Ten.
Yeah, welcome to Big Ten. Have fun playing Michigan again and Ohio State.
Yeah, I think whoever jumps into that Arizona coach is gonna do well.
San Jose State
Considering
coach took it over.
McMillan and stuff, they're staying.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
big.
it looks like they're gonna be solid next year.
Yeah, Will Rogers is a good quarterback. I mean, it's not Penix, but I mean, he threw for a lot of touchdowns at Mississippi State.
Well, he went back in the portal.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
because oh, jeez. I didn't know that. It makes sense though. He expected to go play
Didn't what's his name? Didn't their other recruit follow
Yeah,
DeVore?
yeah.
Yeah, Will Rogers entered the portal again 6 days ago.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
yeah, the like freshman or sophomore, followed DeBoer to Alabama.
Right. Which it doesn't, I mean, now what if you're already at Alabama though, right? What is that? What do you like start thinking about when that coach is bringing in that player and you're at that
Right.
position?
Well, you got Milroy there still, so right. I mean, I
Right.
think
But what
that
about
guy's
the
going to beat
other
him out.
guys, I
No,
mean, Alabama's got to have
Like,
stars at every, both behind stars,
yeah,
And I don't know, Milrose to me is not that great. Yeah, maybe he's good enough to be their starter, but they got to have guys who are more talented behind him that
well,
just
you
need
got more
time.
you got more traditional quarterbacks
Right.
that are gonna. I mean, that's why he couldn't really get the job in the first place at the beginning of the season because he's got so much athletic ability, but the game he's still kind of like there's a learning curve for him that other quarterbacks, you just saw that in the. I knew that was gonna happen in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
It's just like you throw stuff at him and he's not, and he's probably never seen that type of stuff. It's like he doesn't know what to do.
yeah.
So,
They've got Milroy. They got a Ty Simpson, Dylan
Simpson.
Longagren. They signed a 5-star quarterback, Julian Sayin, and they got Austin Mack now.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah. I'm not
Well,
too
think about it.
sad.
They had Tua, Mac Jones, and Hurts all at the same time. So
Right, right. Well, I mean, and they eventually, Hertz did the thing where he had to go, right?
yeah,
And Hertz was really like the top guy
Yeah.
before Tua came in and took
right.
over, and then Hertz after lost his job, then went to a different school and then had success. So yeah, obviously it happens. So um, you mentioned earlier, let's jump back to coaches and go back to NFL again. What do you think? You think Belichick to Atlanta done deal?
Well, I've seen a lot of reports. It's like he's intrigued by that team because I mean, think about it.
The
He's
division
A bunch of young players,
NFC South.
right?
You just need a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You definitely need a quarterback because, I mean,
Well,
but what's funny about he had a second interview today. And so people were joking on the sports shows. They're like, dude, it's like Bill Belichick needs a second interview with the
Right.
Falcons. Come on here. You're the Falcons.
Well, the thing is only I think the Raiders and Chargers have got the Rooney Rule out of the way.
Right.
Seriously, the Raiders interviewed
No.
Leslie Frazier, who isn't coaching at all,
Right.
and Chris Richards, who wasn't coaching at all.
Such a joke.
But the Chargers interviewed Leslie Frazier and David Shaw.
Right. Yeah, it's they're gonna hire who they want anyway. You put these rules in place and
Well, to me, it's kind of dumb, though. It's like, okay, you need to interview 2 minority candidates to hire the minority candidate you want to hire already.
right.
Right? It's like,
Yeah, if you're already gonna hire a minority, why do you have to interview more minorities? Like
right. I mean,
we've gone above and beyond your rule.
It's like you already got a minority interim coach. Like, what are we doing here? It's like,
I mean, it's seriously, they want to hire. It looks like they want to get Pierce and they want to bring in
yeah.
Champ Kelly, right? So they're already going to hire 2 African American, the coach and a
Just
GM.
crazy. Yeah.
And then
mean,
their
come on.
president is an African American woman. I think they can, not have to do the Rooney Rule.
Why didn't they just interview Lovie Smith? I mean, why not just go
Right.
why not just go all the way? Just bring in Lovie Smith.
Well, rest in peace, Denny Green. He was the one that everyone interviewed.
Right, right. Yeah, pretty soon it's gonna be what's his name? Um Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, he, no one's talking about him because he shot the bed at Washington.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He'll be that one that they'll just say,
He thought
"Oh, we're interviewing him," but they're never going to hire him.
he thought, hey, if I can actually make Washington a good offense,
Yeah.
which Washington hasn't had a good offense since Mark Rippon. I mean, like for 30 years, like, hey, you know what? But he couldn't even do it. Like,
He was probably hoping to slip into the head coaching job.
well, that was it. That because he knew Rivera was gone.
Yeah.
Anyways, he thought he'd just be the next guy.
But we talk about Belichick though. Yeah, when you say first you say Falcons, but then you think about what they've drafted recently, right? You've got all this young talent. You just got Bijan Robinson, Drake London. You got Pitts.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of talent, plus some other guys that obviously been playing all year because are just
Yeah.
nowhere to play them.
All he needs to do now is pull a college coach and bring over his former quarterback Mac
Right.
Jones.
No.
Bring
Well,
him
they're
back.
in a position. So they're in a position to trade up because they have enough young talent where they can give away draft capital to move
Yeah.
up for a quarterback, right? So
Mhm.
we'll give you our first and next year's first
Yeah.
and a second for your first, which is a top 5 pick, right? And now they come out with either Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels.
Right. Well, do they have like 8?
I mean, they're not far out. Yeah, so I mean, they're so they may not even have to give up that much to get there, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is what they want. I heard they want to do, which I don't know. It's all depending on what the Bears want to do, but it's Fields. They want Fields.
Right. Well, I mean, how ideal would that be for them, right? To get Fields for nothing
Right.
because you already have all the other positions.
So, the Bears are going to have to get 2 firsts, a second, and Jonnu Smith, right?
Right.
Or
Well,
Tyler Algier.
it's been thrown around that Atlantis is a possible trade up though to first. And if the Bears decide to keep Fields, then Atlanta's like, hey, we want to move to that spot.
The only problem with that is then you lose out on Harrison and Neighbors, probably.
If you're Atlanta.
No, if you're the Bears.
Oh,
If
if you're the Bears, yeah. Yeah, and yeah, dropping down that far is tough, but if you get enough draft capital, I don't know that it matters that much. Because I mean, I'm okay with taking Ndunze at 8,
Yeah.
and then
Oh yeah.
he's good. I don't put Neighbors and Harrison that much above him.
Okay.
And you already got DJ
either
Moore.
Dunze and then one of the tackles at 8,
Right,
9.
exactly. That's what I was
Right.
thinking. Is you
Yeah,
have
that would be smart.
Dunze and one of your tackles, either Notre Dame or Penn State, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not a terrible move for the Bears either. So anyway, a lot of coaching moves. It's kind of interesting to see how the rest of those cards play out. Give us some more topics throughout the playoffs here and start the season. But let's get into the first round. We obviously didn't do well with our picks, and I don't think a lot of people did. And Wes had mentioned Nick Wright earlier. I mean, I cannot stand this guy. I
Your
mean,
buddy.
we've talked about it how many
Oh.
times on the show, on the episodes before, but did you guys happen to catch him talking about the Dallas Green Bay game before it happened?
No, but I bet it
No,
was
I didn't.
Texas.
Oh,
I
it
don't
was
watch the show
just
that much.
gold. It was gold. I mean, he was like so confident, and it was a 0% chance that they were gonna win. And dude, it was just fun. It was funny to hear him. And a lot of the other analysts were agreeing. And obviously, I mean, Keyshawn Johnson's out there talking about how it's going to be a boat race, and all Michael Irvin and all the other guys. So everybody was talking about that. But I just love when because I just can't stand him. It just hilarious to listen to it.
Oh,
So,
it was hilarious watching Skip Bayless melt down.
oh gosh,
I heard about it. I
oh,
heard
it's bad. It's real bad.
I was just laughing the whole. It was the funnest game to watch. It was
And
so
then
fun.
when they said they were keeping McCarthy, the meltdown there too.
Dude, all day, everybody just talked about it all day long, and it was,
Uh-oh.
oh
Oh,
no, you're kidding me.
Oh,
You're
stay
back. It's
on.
coming back. Turn on the
Stay
generator,
on.
Derek.
yeah.
There you go.
See a
Jeez,
little,
We'll see.
see a little Hail Mary.
Yeah. So
The last time this happened, it did that once, and then like a few minutes later, it was gone. So we'll
Uh-oh.
see how long I can be on.
Oh man, dude. Hope it stays. Yeah, there's a lot of clips of the Skip meltdown, not
oh,
the
I gotta see
McCarthy
it. I didn't
one,
see it.
but you got to see it. It's classic. Because for me, when I watch him melt down, I'm like, dude, look, you're not a football player on the team for the team. Like, I get it. Fans get upset and stuff like that, but you don't have the right to be talking about them like that. Yeah, can you be disappointed in them losing? But dude, the way he's talking, it's like he's a player or something. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you've never played anything in your life. Like, so
He's a shareholder.
but
He's like a Packer fan. He's a shareholder.
it's still funny. It's good. And I mean, obviously, let's talk about that game first. I mean, the fans, their fans, they have a right to melt down a little bit because Dallas melted down.
I know it's bad, but I'm being a hater. But I think it's just so much joy when we watch the stand, see the Cowboy fans in the stands.
The best is when they show the clips of like some of the fans. It's just brutal.
Well, I don't know who I hate more, the Packers or the Cowboys, but
The Cowboy.
it does feel really good to watch the Cowboys. It's because the Cowboys were this big favorite, and everybody was like, Packers have no chance, best defense in the league at home. What they won 16 games in a row. It was just classic setup, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is it's also the noise all year. The Micah Parsons and his stupid podcast, and everybody talking like week 11. Like I forgot who it was. Lawrence was like talking, just like, yeah, it's like you guys already won the Super Bowl, dude. You haven't even finished the season, but the worst one that talks is Jerry Jones. And someone talked about today how why would Belichick want to go to the Cowboys when he's trying to, he wants Jerry to shut up. He doesn't want the talking. He doesn't want the noise.
Right.
He's out there to do a job and to win Super Bowls. It's not about all they are is a circus. They're a soap opera. And I think Jerry's got so used to it that it doesn't bother him that much anymore. It's like, oh, now everybody can feel sorry for us again. And you know what? So we're back to square one and we'll be back next year. And it's like this, he plays out this drama. It's like, maybe you shouldn't have fired like one of the best coaches ever, or not fired him. But you know what? We don't need you. We got me, man.
He's always been that way, though.
Yeah. So the noise, but it was funny. The media pressure and the media. Remember in the first quarter, they kept saying there's something wrong with Dak and CD and all this stuff, right? And they kept talking about it. And then you're like, no, you guys are looking into this. And then you start watching and go, well, maybe there is. And CD, and the coach goes over to CD. I almost bet that Green Bay's DC defensive coordinator was on the sideline, right? And they got the biggest jumbotron in the history of the planet, right? You can see everything that goes on up through TV. I bet you he's like, hey, dude, look, they are going to try to get to CD. They're going to do whatever they can to get it to him. watch for the ball. It's coming to you.
Yeah.
And that's when he took it to the house.
Right.
And
He
he
jumped
forced it to
the
him.
route. Yeah.
You knew he was going to force it to him because they didn't want the appearance that, oh, they're fighting, or I guess they had an argument before in warm-ups. It's like, how do you have an argument in warm-ups? Like, so yeah, it was fun to watch. Because I almost called the pick. I go, dude, the ball is coming to one of you guys.
Right.
And it was like a play later, he took it to the house. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have put money on that.
It's tough for the Cowboys because, with all the hype around it and everything, and then you go out and you get blown out really bad from not a very good Packers team.
And I think
you made Jordan Love look like the best quarterback in the entire NFL.
I know, and now we got to hear the Jordan Love noise.
I think one of the worst things that happened to the Cowboys there is in the fourth quarter they scored 16 points. I think that almost saved everybody's job. Like after the game, Dak's like talking like, "Oh yeah, well, I started blowing it up at the end of the game." It's like, dude, you were down by 32 with 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, and then just Green Bay just running up the middle.
They put in their backups, and then after they scored those 2 touchdowns, they put Jordan Love back in.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
All right,
just to hand the ball off and finish out the game.
It's like garbage time. Yeah, you only lost by 16. But these guys are so delusional that they're like, we're there. We're almost there.
We were coming back.
Like Mike McCarthy said today, hey, we built a championship program. We have the blueprint. It's like the only problem is you were 2 games short of just the NFC championship, not the Super Bowl. I mean, you can't even get out of the wild card round at home. Like, you're not, I mean.
I think, the only people who had Green Bay winning that game, though, really was the Green Bay fans. Like, when you look at that, that's a tough call. Like, yeah, you could say, oh, I knew Green Bay was going to win, but nobody thought Green Bay was going to win, right?
Well, but I didn't. I went back and forth on it because I was like, maybe Green Bay can do some damage in the playoffs just because their offense. Because I like what Jordan Love's been doing. I like his weapons. I just didn't think their defense was that good at all. So it's like, no, they can't beat them. Their defense is too bad. And look at whose defense was bad.
Right.
The freaking Cowboys. Who thought they were just going to get rolled like that?
Yeah, it was horrible. They didn't get any pressure and stop the run. That was pretty bad. So that was a tough loss for us. I mean, legitimately though, like that one, and then Dallas or Philly, Tampa, right? So that's a surprise, but Tampa's at home. I guess that's an advantage because 5 out of 6 home teams won. In the first round.
Yeah.
So that is an advantage Tampa, but should they beat Philly? And I guess Philly just ultimately was too out of control. Like they had too much spiraling in the last few weeks that they couldn't get out of it.
I think it came down to losing Steichen and Gannon as your coordinators and thinking you could just, because what happened is they started off really well, winning games, but there was a blueprint, and everyone talked that the offense that the Eagles ran was super simple, and they did like the same plays all the time. And so and then the defense, look, I mean, under Patricia,
right,
looked horrible.
Just tanked. God, that defense was bad. Like guys running open. I don't even know who these guys are for the Bucs.
Right.
Like, I don't even know who these guys are.
No tackling whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. Tackling was poor. The coverage was poor. They weren't communicating very
Baker
well.
Mayfield throwing a ball like up in the air, 20 yard, nobody there. Guy catches it for a touchdown. I'm like, dude, what are you guys doing? That's zero coverage, all right. That's like no coverage. Like that's just bad.
They took the zero coverage a little too literally. They didn't cover anybody. But it was still a shocker though. I didn't not that I didn't think Tampa could win, but I did not think that they would win that easily. Like any team has a shot, right, to win, so you can't count them out. But to win a game like that, because Philly was just not in the game at all.
No, they were. It wasn't close.
They didn't even look like they came to play.
No, and Hurts. I mean, just some of the decisions, the stupid safety. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, what are you thinking? You can't. You're in the end zone. You have to throw. You're outside. You're getting outside. You could throw the ball away. And it's just like, what are you seeing here? Do you even know where you're at? And then you score a touchdown, right? You're down 16-9, and I know you get a penalty, and we got to go for 2 because we're going to get it because you can't stop our play. You can't start the 1 yard play, and they did. They actually stopped it, and it's like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, it's just Sirianni. I think it's almost like he thought, I'm fired. Philly fan is out for me. I'm done. I've lost control of the team. It's almost like the fans have dictated that, you know what? Maybe I'm not a great coach like I thought I was. Like, it's like he lost his confidence, and then he lost the team. I mean, you just don't go from 10-1 to that.
Wouldn't Vrabel look pretty good as an Eagles coach?
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
they obviously have a coaching mess happening right now, right? So you got to figure. You can't. I mean, we've talked about this. How many times we said coaching matters? Coaching matters, right? So you can't just let your coaches go, lose your coaches, and do nothing about it, and think it's just going to keep rolling. So they're going to have to do something here. But again, it was a shocker. That was another big loss.
Well, though, I did text you guys. I'm like, I got a feeling.
Yeah,
the Eagles are going to lose.
Well, I mean, once you're talking, AJ Brown,
yeah,
and stuff like that, but just
the way they lost was bad.
The way the weekend was going, yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, at this point, yeah, Philly's going to lose as well. Like I think it was kind of a given by then. Now Thursday, you wouldn't have convinced me of that.
No.
But come, Monday, I was like, oh, it's done. It's a wrap. Phillies, they're done.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, why did I pick Philly? It's just because it was a coin flip to me. I really didn't. I really didn't put much stock in the Bucks, but that's how bad Philly is now.
Well, and now it's the same thing. It's Baker Mayfield, how good Mayfield is, and how
Big show.
Oh my gosh! I'm just like, come on, you guys.
I was listening to Jim Rome, and
make up your mind. Is he the worst draft pick ever, or is he now the best quarterback ever? Like, you guys got to make up your mind.
You know what's funny is, I always thought, of course, he there's things he does really well, but he has limitations. And a guy like Lincoln Riley, of course, I mean, he coached Baker up. He knew his limitations. Baker is a hard worker. He knows the system. He knows where to go with the football. It comes to the NFL, it's different. It's like you're not the greatest talent in the world, but there's things he does that are really good, and you have to have limitations. And under those confinements, you can get to this point with him, and even beyond, probably with a really solid team. And it looks like the Bucks are playing really well. They're playing good defensively. Schematically, they're getting stops. They're playing good. I think it ends this week, but
And Baker's a leader. He has been a leader. I mean, people follow him.
Yeah, dude, but it started this year. Yes, right now they have a lot of momentum, right? And momentum's a crazy thing in football. You see that with teams. that really aren't super talented teams. They get momentum, they beat teams, they play really well. But when it comes down to it, when they started getting on a roll, it's like, dude, all you just throwing the ball up to Mike Evans. And like
Yeah.
that's the smart play, right? You got one of the best tall receivers to play the game, just throw the ball up there and let him go get it.
Yeah, if you have a tendency to throw high, which
Mike
Baker
Evans is the
does,
guy you want on the team.
yeah, it's like he makes up for it. It's like, oh shoot, oh that's oh no, never mind.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But they do have momentum now, and Baker feeds off that too. I think that makes him a better player than he is. Like he's definitely a player of momentum, right? He's better when they're playing good. He's worse when they're playing bad.
He's also the chip on the shoulder guy too.
Yeah.
So he's got that chip,
Yeah, but when it gets bad, he gets real bad,
Mhm.
And when it gets good, he gets a lot
It
better.
just falls
So
apart.
this might be good for them. We'll see, when we get into next week. Let's see. Houston, Cleveland was a big surprise for me too. Not that I didn't think Houston could win that game, but the
But
way they
how they
won
won.
the game,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Cleveland did nothing that they did all year. And that's so weird. It's like you get into this playoff game and your defense just disappears. Flacco just doesn't play like he had played up to this point. It's just weird I didn't see that happening. Although I knew Houston could win that game, but not like they did.
Well, what? Arguably the top two defenses this year were the Cowboys and the Browns, right?
Yeah,
But that
probably.
Browns gave up 45, the Cowboys gave up 48. If defense needs to play to win championships.
Right. I mean, it was a shocker game. I mean, like I said, I'm not surprised that Houston won the game. I'm definitely surprised how they won the game, but more so how Cleveland played.
Yeah.
Because their defense was just getting cut apart.
well, they had Carr.
And you were definitely talking about the best defense in the league. Like Dallas, I think they have good parts of their defense. I don't think their defense as a whole is great. I think Cleveland's defense has been and as was solid all year in almost all assets, facets of the defense. So
Yeah. No,
that was a shocker.
it was CJ Stroud playing with house money. And there's this thing about going to play them in Houston. It's just, man, I just wish Cleveland could play the freaking Chiefs. I was like, why can't they play the Chiefs? Because I mean, I just lost $2,000 right there. It's like gone. Like that was my bet. I'm like, crap, 42,000. That's a no brainer. But I was like, why can they play the Chiefs? Because going to play Houston, you just never know. And Stroud's playing with house money, and he just carved them.
Yeah.
And you just saw the repertoire of throws he can make, throwing on the run, rolling out, throwing the ball, guys coming at him. I mean, honestly, it was like Jordan Love and Stroud had kind of the same game. It's like they couldn't do anything wrong,
Well, there's no doubt that CJ Stroud over the year has shown he's by far and away the best quarterback to come out of the draft. But where you're right is as the years developed, he's actually shown that he can make a lot of throws that I don't think myself included didn't think he could make.
Yeah.
When before, like maybe just because we hadn't seen him, we didn't get that opportunity out of him, or maybe he developed quickly throughout the year.
It seemed like early they were kind of cautious, and I don't think it helped them that much early because it's like at Ohio State, he's out there just throwing from all angles. He could just make so many throws within the pocket, not even going outside the pocket. And so I think it got to the point. It's like, let's just let him play, and see what happens. He only threw 5 interceptions the whole year. It's like, so yeah, it was. I didn't think they would carve him like that.
Yeah,
Like,
it was a surprise.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a surprise game. Miami Chiefs game. I don't think that was a big surprise. It was so cold. You knew Miami. I mean, I really wanted Miami to win that game. I even said it on the podcast. It's probably not the right pick. Chiefs are probably going to win this game, but I want Miami to win, so I'm going to take them. But in the weather, Miami just looked like they didn't want to be there. I mean, when you talk about a team that showed up to the field defeated, like they were getting pushed around, and
Could run the
they didn't
ball.
look explosive at all.
I thought they could run the ball and be successful. They could run the ball at all.
They had a chance. They had a chance to run the ball, and they kept calling different like gadget plays. I'm like, dude, that's not what you call in that temperature, in that game, in that position.
Luke Getsy was there.
Yeah, it looked like he was. That's what I was saying, dude. He was. They were running. There was a perfect example. Did you guys watch the game? The whole
Yeah.
that when it was still a close game. I think after Tyreek had scored, Chiefs still had the lead, but the Miami got the ball back and they gave it to Mosier like three times in a row, and he ran for like 8 yards, and then 5 yards, and then 4 yards, and then a first down. They had two first downs in a row, and they got it to like 3rd and 2, and instead of running it again for a fourth time, they ran that like hitch throw and then some gadget play after that on fourth down. I was like, what are you doing? Like, just hand Mosier the ball again.
Yeah.
And because they're on the 50 or so, they were moving into their territory. I was like, well, what are you doing at that point in that weather? I mean, so that's to me tells me that there wasn't some good coaching as well, to go in with the, kind of hurts the player mentality.
Well, that's the thing you got to realize. So Mike McDaniel is a genius offensively, but sometimes you got to let your ego go and go, okay, we just need to remember when Belichick, the Patriots game where Mac Jones threw the ball only 3 times the entire game.
Right. He's like, yeah, you just gotta change.
Just do what you can do to win. Don't get
Right.
cute.
Right. Yeah, and
And
that's
then, oh my
that's what
gosh, did
happened.
you see like they got a few of the guys got blown up because they would throw it out in the flat and they knew it was coming and
Oh
just
yeah. It was hammering him. Hill got hammered and Mosier got hammered.
HN got hammered. I was like,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
Yeah, because they knew what was coming, and so that was you could see the Chiefs were going to win that game once it started, once it got going. But there was a lot of mistakes I think made in that. I think they definitely had a chance, but so that was another one where definitely should have picked the Chiefs.
Well, my mom and my wife were talking about that game, and they're like, it's just not fair that Miami has to go and play, and that,
Right.
and I'm like, well, they needed to win more games, and then they wouldn't
Right.
have to do it.
It's kind of funny. I think Holly said something similar to that about why don't they just play in a dome or something like that when it's cold like that? And I was like, then what's the point of home field advantage? So you
Yeah.
have to play all year and you get no home field advantage.
Yep.
Did you guys see the reporter in the Tampa interview?
Oh, that was awesome,
Oh, so funny, dude.
dude. Like
So
Tubble's
did you see that,
reactions
Wes?
was just
No.
So the reporter asked Todd Bowles if how they were going to prepare because it was like 13 degrees in Detroit, and how they were going to prepare for the cold weather when they go up and play in Detroit. And Todd Bowles is like didn't know how to answer because he's like, oh man, he's like, because I don't want to make her feel bad or look bad, and he's like, well, it's yeah, it's gonna be cool. Only the time we're gonna be cold is from the bus to the stadium, which is only about 20 feet. So I think we won't really prepare for that too much.
You
it's a
didn't want to
he
make
was
her
like
feel
it's
bad?
a dome.
Yeah. And I was just like, it
That's
was just
brutal.
hilarious, dude. But
You can't. That's
no,
like T-ball. You just say like, and did he pause? Like he's like,
Oh, he
really?
was like mystified.
he didn't because he didn't know what to say at first because he knew where she was going with the question because it was actually kind of a drawn out question. And like I'm listening to it and I knew where she was going and he listened to it. You could see he knew where she was going. He's like, she's not gonna go there. And then she did, and he's like, oh no, what do I say now?
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because McAfee was trying to defend it on the Pat McAfee show. He's like, well, they were really short on the reporters or something, and it was like it was not an actual sports reporter. It was just an
Well, if it
anchor
wasn't a sports reporter, then I get it, but
filling in and just asking a question, because that was like because it was cold everywhere, right? And that was like a hot topic, you know. But it was funny, is like because they were short because of the weather, and I was like, wait a minute, that interview was in Tampa.
yeah. Well, it's because everyone was at the beach.
Are you sure they were
They were
cold
short
because
because
of
of
the
the
weather
weather. Because
there?
like,
Are you
no,
sure they
man,
were
I'm
short
calling in
because of
because
the
the
weather?
beach is nice.
I was like, I don't know if that's holding water there, McAfee.
Well, she better not be a sports reporter because that just kind of tanks your career.
Right. But that was funny. But anyway, that that's it's interesting to think about, because then you got Buffalo, right? You got to go play in Buffalo. Pittsburgh, luckily, they have cold weather too, so it shouldn't be that bothersome for them. Uh, that was an
Stupid
interesting game.
snow shoveling, keeping us away from snow games. I hate that.
Yeah, that was a little bit excessive on the snow.
But they took all the snow away.
Right. They should have just played in the 6 feet.
That would have been awesome. And then Buffalo come out in the white jerseys.
Right. You can't see them.
They'd have to build tunnels. Like build if 6 years, like build all these freaking tunnels.
Well, that game kind of went at least how we thought it would go, right?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, you know,
Yeah.
hung around kind of, but never really had a chance.
Yeah.
Still
So
was closer than the game
beating
was.
Mason Rule.
yeah.
They almost kind of came back though, but
Yeah, they
man.
played decent. Yeah, they didn't play
Yeah.
bad. The the Detroit Rams game though was really the game of the weekend. Loved that game. I think it was both teams played really hard.
It was the only good game we got.
Right. And it could have went either way. Rams played well. I thought they could have won the game, but at home, Detroit, they just really were needed that game as a city. So they had to keep the murder rate down.
Yeah.
But that was a great game. Detroit showed some weaknesses, but they showed that they could, stay in games and their defense could show up. And the Rams, I think, showed that they were still a pretty competitive team.
It's pretty amazing about the Rams because they haven't had a first rounder in I don't know how long.
Yeah. Right.
And they still find talent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they've definitely found a way to stick around. I mean, you get lucky though, like you bring in Nakua, like come on, man.
I mean, arguably, if you think the offense is better than their Super Bowl offense,
Oh
right now.
yeah. Right now, definitely. I would say that. I would say it's better. I would say it's the best offense they've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a real long time. Probably since Greatest Show on Turf.
So they're going to be favorites next year.
Yeah. Yeah, if Stafford can stay healthy. I think Stafford, he had shoulder problems again in that game, which that's not gonna do good for him as he gets older.
Yeah, he got lit up in that game. I was like, how are you even alive
Yeah.
after that one hit?
Well, I
He's
mean, he always gets lit up there, right? So
Yeah, even when he was playing for Detroit.
yeah. He's used to the turf. He's like, I've
But-
bounced off this turf so many
Dude,
times. It's not a big deal.
But it's you can't just keep injuring your throwing shoulder
No, you
over
can't.
and over and over again. Like it's because it's always his throwing shoulder too.
right.
And then he just keeps throwing fastballs too. Like that guy doesn't know how to like put touch on a ball, dude. He just he puts it in there. So that was a great game. Let's see, who do we talk about? We got them all.
Yep.
Yeah.
So What's interesting, if you look at our picks, though, going into this week, all of the winners that I have for this week are still in it, can still win, even though we lost so many games week one,
Same.
Well, yeah.
right?
All right, we were both 2-4, but those two teams were the teams we say
We
you're going to win
needed
this
to
week.
win to keep our playoff tree alive, right? So so technically, I mean, we're still in it. Yeah, we didn't do too well in round one, but we talk about round two now, and with what we got, let's just break down a couple of the games. I think we all have the same picks, yeah.
Well, did
Oh wait,
Wes,
Wes,
you have the Cowboys going?
yeah, Wes had the Cowboys, didn't he?
Yeah, the Cowboy. I didn't. I had Houston. I had Houston.
I know, but in the
No, man,
second
you
round.
had the what? Ravens, Bills, Cowboys, Niners as your
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so
Cowboys Cowboys.
so the Cowboys failed you, but you were 3-3
yeah.
in the first round. So Wes won the first round of the playoffs after winning the regular season.
He's won the battle, but we'll see about the war.
We'll see who wins the war. All right, so we game one Saturday. Texans Ravens first game. So this is the hard part, right? Now Texans have to go to Baltimore. So you're not at home, but you have the momentum, right? So Texans got some momentum coming in. I think we all have Baltimore winning this game already. But what can the Texans do? Like, how can the Texans win this game?
Stroud plays out of his mind again, I guess. But
I mean, they have to control Baltimore's offense, right? So their defense
yeah,
you have to control Jackson. So if you can limit Jackson's production, but it sounds like Mark Andrews may be playing.
yeah.
So that's going to hurt him.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
the Texans defensively, they do pretty well against the run up front. It's just on the back end. I mean, I think they're ranked 20 something against the pass. So I think Lamar Jackson, this is a lot of pressure on him because you know, Texans are hot and I think he's going to have to throw the ball in all areas to win the game. He's going to have to go out there and use his arm. I don't think he's going to be able to run around as much as he has in the past. So they're going to try to take away the running game. They're going to make him throw the ball at all costs. Right. So he has a big game. Then I think they should cover. They're a 9.5-point favorite. I think there's no reason why they shouldn't cover. Their defense on the back end, I think Stroud can make some bad throws. He can have some turnovers. I think that should be expected for the Ravens defense. I think Texans need to run the ball with Singletary. I think they need to kind of keep it honest. They need to control the ball a little bit with, get the running game going, get Singletary going, and then do play action. And I think they do have a chance.
Here's an interesting stat because it's kind of crazy 17 games wise. The Texans record outdoors is 3-3.
Wow.
They only played 6 games outdoor and they're 3-3. The Ravens are 10-4.
Yeah, women Texans play in a dome, so that right there,
Yeah.
half your games are inside, right?
Yeah.
Plus you got the Colts.
Then you got then whoever you play, Colts, yeah. And then I mean you play the Jags, so that might as well be inside. So that's gonna be tough for them because Baltimore is gonna be cold, right? Can't imagine it's gonna be warm in Baltimore in January.
Yeah. The Texans don't really disguise a lot on D. They run like a was it heavy zone? I guess Jackson he does well against the zone. So I think
Right.
he's just got to make all the throws. They should win.
Does it? So Texans being a young team, it doesn't hurt them, not to have a bye, right? It actually helps them to have momentum. Does it hurt the Ravens to have a bye and to have that week off?
No, because they needed to get healthy. They got
Right.
Andrews
And he's
back and they're
healthy.
going to get Kyle Hamilton back. I mean, that helps them out a lot. The thing with them is they've been in this position before and have choked.
Right.
Yeah. That week off also, I think it might take Jackson a little bit just to get back into that rhythm.
Right. Well, there's also a problem when you have a guy like Andrews come back, you tend to want to force action too.
Yeah.
Or you use them as a decoy.
That's you should, but a lot of times they end up like wanting to get him the ball, like because I haven't had this weapon in so long, and he may not be 100%, or he
Well,
may be just rusty.
Lively's shown that he's capable, so
Right.
they're probably going to do lots of 2 tight end sets, masking Andrews, making it look like they're going to throw to Andrews and then go to Lively or Flowers. They were smart.
Yeah. So I mean, I obviously I think still stick with the Ravens. Do they cover Ravens by 10? What do you guys think?
I don't think they quite cover. I think Houston's going to put up a fight. I just think at the end of the day, Lamar is going to make more plays, and Stroud might make a couple mistakes.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close guy. I would say the Ravens by 6.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they do cover. I say they win by 10, just because the Texans are so young and inexperienced that I think the Ravens, we saw what they did to like the Lions, right?
Right.
A young, inexperienced team. So, but I mean, it could go either way. I'm going just against Wes. That's the only thing here. It could go either way, though.
I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on this one. I could see D'Amico bringing them in, with a lot of momentum and getting them fired up. And you win that first playoff game. Like somebody is talking about it, it's like I think maybe we even said it, but I heard it also on an analyst afterwards. It's like the Texans just don't know any better.
Right.
They don't.
They're
Yeah.
so young, like they don't understand the power of the moment,
Mhm.
and they're just out there playing their hearts out.
And D'Amico Ryan, I think Ryan, he's gonna know what Lamar's weaknesses are, and he's gonna try to exploit them as much as possible. He's gonna make him do things that make him uncomfortable, and I think that's gonna happen in the first half. I think the second half was where the adjustment comes,
Right.
and I think Lamar has a couple big plays running, like he'll get his, but I think it's gonna be tough in the early going.
Yeah. I'm gonna go not cover as well. I'm gonna take the Ravens still. I think it's a close game. Texans maybe even jump out to an early lead.
Yeah.
And then the Ravens just it's a battle of attrition and end up winning the game.
And then one other stat: the Ravens are the best defense for points
Right.
allowed.
Right.
So Mike McDonald has put a pretty good, and that's actually the reason why I think they're the 1 seed, is it's their defense.
Yeah.
From the back end.
All right. Well, Packers 49ers also on Saturday. Obviously in San Francisco.
Yes, they cover. Done.
What's the spread on this one?
9.5.
9.5.
9.5.
Yeah.
I mean, is it that easy? I mean, the Packers come off this huge win in Dallas. They're the only road team to win, by the way, in the wild card.
But the asterisk, it was against the Cowboys.
what do they have to do to win this game? Like, how do the Packers beat the 49ers?
Turnovers, and Jordan Love has to play lights out. That's the
Yeah.
only way.
Got to get some turnovers, right? They got to force Purdy to throw some interceptions. They got to stop the run game. If you can't stop McCaffrey, you're going to be in trouble.
I think in years past, this isn't the Niners. The weather is not going to be good. They're expecting a lot of rain. In the past, that's made the games pretty, ugly. When games are kind of ugly, the Niners don't seem to do as well in the playoffs. But I think they're going to be ready for the Packers in the sense is they're going to go out and they're going to stop the running game. They're not going to let Aaron Jones do what he did to the Cowboys. And I think they are going to stop that initially, and they're going to do again, same thing. They're going to, what Jordan Love's weaknesses are. When he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, he is not. He's not very good when he's not in that zone. And so they're going to do all those things to make him check down or take chances. Either or. Because the Packers, what was great to watch, and I saw them play like this against the Chiefs, and that's why I gave them a shot to do some damage in the playoffs, is because they're not one of these teams. They're not like the other 28 teams in the NFL that will sit there and check down the whole game, 5-yard passes. When they throw the ball, they throw it down the field. And against the Cowboys, they were just carving them 15 yards, 20 yards. I mean, throwing 20-yard outs. And you don't even see that a lot in the NFL anymore. When they throw the ball, they go downfield, and when they want to control the ball, they run the ball. And I just don't think they're going to be able to run the ball effectively with Aaron Jones, and they're going to be forced to take chances. And I think it's going to be close in the first 3 quarters, and then the Niners open it up and they do cover. But I don't think it's going to be that easy because of the weather. And McCaffrey, he's still not really right with his calf. He's coming off that calf injury, but I don't think he's 100%. And it's going to be wet. It's going to be cold. I think Debo's going to have to have a big game. Ayuk's going to Kittle. I think they're going to have to make some plays in the passing game. And Brock Purdy's going to have to play mistake-free football. He cannot turn the ball over like Dak did. If that happens, the Packers can win the game. They could upset them.
Yeah, turnovers is going to be important for the Packers to stay in the game for sure. Too many weapons, I think, for the 49ers. And that they actually use them. They use them correctly. It's going to be a lot harder to stop the 49ers than it was the Cowboys for the Packers. So I definitely think the 49ers cover here.
Brock Purdy is the only quarterback left in the playoffs that wasn't drafted in the first round.
Nice. And he's only one to win more than one game in his rookie year.
Out of these, yes.
So I think we're staying with the 49ers there. Sunday's game start Buccaneers and Lions. So this is where, Wes, you had Dallas, but we still have the Lions going forward. This is in Detroit. Weather's not an issue here. I think that's good for the Bucs. I think being in a dome at this point is going to be good for the Bucs because they obviously aren't a weather team. So they have a chance to use some of their playmakers like Evans and Godwin, who they really didn't use that much against Philly.
Here's a crazy stat because you never would have thought this. The Buccaneers are 23rd in total offense, and the Lions are 3rd.
Yeah.
You would have thought with Godwin and Evans and White and everything. They're 32nd in rushing yards.
So I guess the question is can the Bucs defense stop the Lions offense?
The thing with the Lions offense is they're made for playoffs because they drafted a running back in the top, they got Montgomery and Gibbs. I think they need to lean on those two as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's been the formula for most of the season. Is I still don't think that Goff is a nice quarterback playing from ahead. He doesn't like a lot of pressure. And so that takes a lot of pressure off when those two get going, then I think Goff can, open it up somewhat in the passing game. I like to see him open it up more than they have. Jameson Williams needs the ball deep. And I know that they're kind of like they're playing it conservative because they want, they have a game plan. But at some point in the playoffs, I think Goff is going to have to make some big throws. They're going to get to the Super Bowl.
I don't
Maybe
think
it's not this week because you're playing the Bucs.
right, not this
But
game.
at some point, the Bucs can put you in a position. The Bucs can score points, I think. Even though their offensive ranks they got weapons. Evans, Godwin hasn't got off. He might get off in this game. He starts getting off and they start running the ball. Goff might have to take some chances.
Yeah.
And
well, here's the issue.
Like
you look at Lions defense, even against the Rams last week, they came up with a lot of red zone, stops and forced field goals where if those are touchdowns, you're talking about you gave up 35, 40 points that game, right?
Yeah.
And the Bucs, even though their offense hasn't given a ton of yards, it's still an explosive offense when you look at the player wise, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want Mike Evans and Godwin to have these big games because they can put up 35 points if that happens.
Yeah.
And the Lions defense has been suspect, in the way they did come up with some big stops though in that last game. So I think what that really means though, the Bucs have to stop the Lions though, because they're not going to score a bunch of points, right? The Bucs aren't.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I think the Bucs can put up 28. I think that. I mean, you never know. They
hold the Lions to under 28 though?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be close because I think, I think a lot of people are expecting the Lions to roll over the Bucs, and I think you don't want to underestimate the Bucs. I just think they're going to get after Baker, and if you get him outside, if you get his time, you disrupt his rhythm and timing, I think he becomes a lot less effective quarterbacks. But let me put that nicely: is when he's in a rhythm, he's hitting his drops, he's going through his knows where to go with the ball. He's a good quarterback. But I think Hutchinson. I think Hutchinson's going to get to him. I think they're going to knock him down. They're going to frustrate him. But I still think they're going to get there. It's just not going to be enough. I mean, the way the Lions can run the ball at times is ferocious. I mean, that's a two-headed monster right there. And I just think Montgomery is going to have a big game. Gibbs is going to have a big game in the passing game. And I don't think they're going to need to go they're not going to need the Jameson Williams and to stretch the field so much.
Yeah, probably not.
Unless they get behind.
I agree on paper. The Bucs have a good offense and should do well. They scored 6 points against the Lions this year at home. And they scored 9 points against the Carolina Panthers. So can I really trust the Buccaneers offense to actually put up tons of points on a consistent basis?
Yeah, I think that's the problem is what are you going to get week to week, right?
Yeah. You got 32 last week. This week you'd be 16. That's on paper. That's what should happen. Is because they don't consistently score a lot of points.
Yeah. I think ultimately what it comes down to though is the Bucks defense probably will allow too many points for the Bucks to be able to outscore them, right? So either way, the Lions come out ahead.
All right, before the playoff game, they'd scored 9 points and 13 the 2 games before the playoffs.
Right.
So is it a misnomer because the Eagles are a complete mess, or are and I get it. The Bucks look, if I was playing Madden, yeah, I could put up 600 yards with the Bucks. Easy.
Right.
Yeah. And,
But-
and I, just watching, I watched the game pretty closely until the fourth quarter. I was like, this is a monstrosity. It's like Eagle fans are just going to. I was like, they're putting out the paper bags. I'm like,
The Eagles definitely did not look good for sure.
but just looking at some of the plays that they were like, what the Bucks were getting they're just the plays. I'm like, dude, against a good defense, this would not work.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work against a good defense.
No.
Palmer and Moore's touchdown, they didn't tackle him.
Right.
Yeah.
They tackled each other.
Nobody around them.
Then they.
I mean, they're throwing a 10-yard out, and there's nobody around Evans. It's like, this is Mike Evans, dude. That's a pretty darn good big cushion when you can't even see him on TV. The defender on TV, that's a big cushion.
Ultimately, though, the Lions, it was a hold your breath game against the Rams. They got over that hump. They're going to come into this game with confidence, and I don't see how the Bucks could win this game in Detroit.
Oh, it's going to be rocking in Detroit.
Right. That's what I mean and they're going to have they really have confidence. Like the first game, right? You still have that nervousness. Like, oh my gosh, we're still Detroit, and then they win the game. And so they have the confidence coming in now. And now they don't have to be scared of losing anymore and disappointing the world, right? So I think Detroit has too much momentum for the Bucks to come in to Detroit and win that game.
It's another NBC Detroit game, but man, you turn on the game and you see Eminem at the beginning of the game, and you're like, oh, dude, he's gonna bust out, dude. You gotta bust out. You gotta do something. And he started narrating and talking. I'm like, why are you talking, dude?
Yeah.
You should be, dude. That's in a contract. Like, don't even think about rhyming, dude. You won't even do one rhyme.
Well,
if this was CBS, I guarantee you he would be rhyming. He'd be busting out something.
Yes.
I watched the Barry Sanders documentary, and he was on it a bunch talking.
Yeah,
so he's a huge Lions guy.
He is.
Oh yeah,
he is. And that's what I mean, though. That was such a special game with everybody that was there, that there was a lot of jitters for them, and now they don't have that coming into this game.
Yeah, because they were getting kind of nervous in the fourth quarter, and I think everybody felt it. I think everybody looked at Goff, and I even think the coach was like, "All right, let's protect Goff a little here. Let's just play it safe, because there's a lot of pressure here. Because there's a lot of pressure on Goff. I mean, think about it. I mean, he gets dumped by the Rams. He comes in. Stafford has his Super Bowl.
Right.
And it's just like everyone's looking at Goff, and I don't think Goff's that type of guy that likes to be looked at a lot. He's not like Aaron Rodgers here, Dave. He doesn't like the attention. And I think, okay, let's get a little tight here. Let's play it safe. And it was just like they were just holding on for dear life, it seemed like.
Right.
Well, we got to hand it to Goff too, because McVay knows all of his weaknesses.
He knows all his tendencies. Yep.
And
he played pretty good.
He didn't. Yeah, a normal guy would probably be the game where he throws like 2 or 3 picks and loses the game for him.
Because I thought that's where it could. No, I went back and forth on the Rams line. I was like, dude, he knows Goff, and this is McVay. Dude, McVay is very detailed. He's not, this is like he could catch him.
It was a surprise that. I mean, that was the upset I thought would happen of all of them. The funny part was, of all the upsets that happened last weekend, in my mind, that was the one I thought could happen. Lions pulled it out, so that was pretty solid.
And yeah, they stopped the Lions running game too.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, the Rams were primed to have a run. Lions, like I said, they were lucky to win it, but it gives them some great momentum. It's a good story for the Lions going in. I think it continues. I think they win that game. Spread wise, what's the spread on that one?
6.5.
6.5.
I think it's 6.5.
I think they cover.
I think they cover too.
Yeah.
I bet.
And then, what would the playoffs be without the Chiefs and the Bills?
Boo. Must see TV.
At least this year it's in Buffalo, though.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
It's a night game in Buffalo. Thank you, fans, for Buffalo. Like
Patrick Mahomes' first road game.
Yeah, it's 7:00 Eastern. They're playing outside. Yeah. It's gonna be cold again.
This is his first road game
in the playoffs.
Wow,
in the playoff.
That's crazy.
It's nutty.
Well, I think we all have the Bills winning this game ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I gotta stick with the Bills here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think weather really is going to be a thing because Chiefs can play in the same weather, right? So that's not going to be a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just going to be cold, no snow, no rain, nothing like that. And the wind is going to be about 8 miles per hour, so that's not that bad.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be cold.
So really, I mean, I guess a couple things here. Like Josh Allen can't turn the ball over. So he has to limit his turnovers. Chiefs have to get some offense. Like the Chiefs have to find a way to not just because you're not going to be able to just run down the throat with Pacheco all game. You're going to have to throw the ball. Like you need Kelsey to have a big game here.
Yeah.
You need Rasheen Rice to score. You know, he's got to have some yards.
You're going to need Travis Swift to show up.
As I say, if Travis Swift doesn't have a big game here, I don't know that the Chiefs can win this game without Travis Swift going for 100, 150.
I get it now.
he's taking her last name.
I know. It took me a minute. I'm a little slow.
Travis Swifty.
As far as the Bills, I just think they just need to play their normal game and just not. Josh Allen just needs to not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Well, I think also,
now that's the problem with Josh Allen.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
they'd win every game if he didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, this is Oh yeah, he has the most touchdowns in the league and the most turnovers.
Right.
And so the Bills' defense is banged up. They get a couple more injuries. I mean, they are banged up, but again, they just built such a consistent 53-man roster. I think they can weather that to a certain extent, just depending on how great Patrick Mahomes wants to be, but doing a lot with nothing. I mean, look what he did last week. I mean, in those conditions, he was throwing some dimes. It's windy, it's cold. It's, it doesn't matter where he plays. It doesn't matter if it's on the road. It's just, can the other players step up? Can Rashee Rice have a game like he did last week? He had a good game. He was targeting Rice because he knew, okay, Rice is my guy. He's making plays. He's not going to drop the ball like Kelsey did. Kelsey had like 3 drops. Like the first drop, he's looking at his hands like, what did I do? It's like, dude, you're Travis Kelsey. What are you doing? Don't look at your hands. Look at your girl up there, man. Don't look at your hands. And it's just like, if he can get someone to step up and make plays, yeah, they can win the game. But I'm going to roll with the Bills. I think the Bills, for their whole franchise, for Josh Allen, for their coach, I think they almost have to win that game.
It's an important game for them. It's a real important game.
I mean, they are the window is slamming shut on them already.
Yeah.
They got to win that game. I think they'll figure out a way to win it, but it is not going to. Patrick Mahomes is not going to go down without throwing some haymakers.
Well, and you know, like Mahomes, it's hard to argue that he's not the best quarterback in the league, right? So, you know, he's obviously going to come to play, you know, no matter the weather, no matter the game, right? You know, he's going to show up. So, it's like I said, the Chiefs, they need a couple things, right? They need a couple of their receivers, you know, to have big games, and then they need to force a few turnovers on the Bills side. If the game is clean, plays out clean, I think the Bills win pretty easily. So I'm going with the Bills, staying with the pick. So we all had the Bills. Points wise, though, you know, get the Ravens, the 49ers, the Lions, and the Bills all advance. Then mine and Derek's playoff tree is still intact.
And I know Steve doesn't feel the same way because of the Packers, but for me, as long as the Chiefs lose, I don't really care about any other. That's all I want.
No, I do not want to see the Chiefs
I know.
playing anybody in the AFC Championship
or the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm done with them in the Super Bowl. Like, it's just a punchline. That's what it would be for me.
But I mean, here's the thing. Right now, you look at it's a tough road for the Chiefs. On the road against the Bills, and then on the road against the Ravens.
If the Texans don't win,
and well, let's say the Ravens win like they should, but if the Chiefs beat the Bills on the road and then go and beat the Ravens on the road, they deserve to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, if the Packers beat the 49ers on the road,
absolutely.
Well, okay. So what about my alternative? This is funny. My alternative.
Dude, if it's the Packers and Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
No. There was a serious thought. My Super Bowl was gonna be, because I couldn't figure out how it would play out. But I was like, it can't be Baltimore against this team, or it can't be San Francisco. So I had Baltimore and the Packers in one, and I had Houston against the Niners in the other. I was like, no, that can't happen. That just can't happen.
No.
Bills,
but you know what? It could happen.
Perfect Super Bowl.
You never know.
It could happen.
But Wes,
I mean, look how hot those teams. Look how hot the Packers are, and Houston. They're coming in with a momentum.
Although Lions, Texans.
Dude.
Because look, now you get a new Super Bowl champion, right?
Yeah. A team that's
never won the Super Bowl.
Never been in the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying.
Neither have been, but I was saying Bills, Lions.
Well, yeah, because Bills never won one either, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it could.
That to me would be, for me, the perfect Super Bowl, because I wouldn't care, because then one of them will be.
Yeah. I would kind of care, because I have some Bills friends, and I told them, I go, dude, if you guys better not go to the Super Bowl and lose. Like, you might as well not even go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you go to the Super Bowl, you got to, and that's why I didn't pick the Bills and the Niners, because the Niners are winning. That's a done deal. The Niners are not going to another Super Bowl to lose.
Right.
You know, unless it's like to the Ravens. I understand that. But they're not losing to the Bills. I was like, Bills, you don't even want to see the Super Bowl if the Niners are in it. You want Detroit. You want anybody else but the Niners. You want
I don't know. Do you really want someone who's going to bite your kneecap?
Well, you know what the thing is, when I look at these games, the game I'm the most confident is 49ers beating the Packers, right? So what's going to happen?
Mine's Detroit beating the Bucks. That's my most confident.
So that means it's going to be Bucks and Packers in the NFC Championship.
No, that would be the Bays. The Bays in the. Oh no!
Come on.
Well, and then here's another fun fact: out of the 4 teams in the NFC, 3 are from the NFC Central.
Right.
Oh yeah.
If you go back to the olden days,
Yep, it's true. Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's the old days. All right. Well,
Dude,
I
you
mean,
know what would be funny is that the Bucks came out in their old school, like just to surprise everybody. They fucking
dude,
come out in
I love those
orange
old Bucks uniforms.
creamsicles.
Dude, I
Like
love
that would be
those.
awesome.
Dude, those are the coolest uniforms.
well, if the Lions come out in the silver helmet with the blue jersey, the Barry
I don't-
Sanders blue,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I like those jerseys a lot. The old school Lions better than the new. I don't
Yeah.
like I don't like the Smurfs, the Smurf outfits. Like come out with the silver pants.
I don't know, their gray's kind of cool. Where it's all gray with the blue stripes.
I like crap.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, nothing beats the old school Bucks, dude. Their uniforms were so legit. All right, well, so we got Texans, or we got Ravens, Ravens, 49ers, Lions, Bills. As I'm moving on. Yeah, that's kind of the assessments of those games. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of wild card weekend, huh?
No.
Yeah, if you let's just say out of the 4 games, who's most likely for an upset? Wrap up with that. Who's most likely to get upset?
Bills.
Derek says
Just
the Bills.
it's the Chiefs,
It's the
right?
Chiefs.
Well, I mean,
And the NFL is going to want Taylor Swift to continue going.
oh,
That's right. Yeah,
So that's
you
not really an upset. It's
forgot
not really
about
an
the
upset because
script.
we know that's what the NFL
It's on the
wants. So that's what
script.
they're gonna keep, right?
I'm gonna
If
say
I-
the Texans. I'm gonna say the
Yeah.
Texans are most primed for the upset because they just don't know any better.
And the Ravens choke every year.
Yeah, and they are good choke
I agree.
artists. So I'm going with the Texans, most likely to upset.
Yeah, they're extremely hot. I mean, the way they just carve Cleveland. They could playing outdoors. I don't think the weather's really going to be a factor. It seems like. I think that's the game right there. That it could happen because Stroud has so much confidence, and honestly, he's pulling more out of his. He's got a toolkit of a lot of things he can do.
Yeah,
He looks good throwing on the run, and I just never thought that much of it when he was at Ohio State. Did you see the throw he overthrew the guy in the end zone? He launched that like 70-something yards.
yeah, he's got a cannon for
He
an arm.
overthrew the dude. Marco's like, oh, he's trying to stop for me. He's like, I'm like,
If Marvin
damn.
Harrison Jr. didn't get hurt, they would have beaten Georgia.
Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. They
So
had
you going
Georgia on the ropes.
you going Texans as well then, Wes?
Yeah.
Now, here we go. In the future, Chiefs, Lions, Super Bowl. Eminem gets his
Taylor
little
Swift.
little diss rap on Taylor Swift.
No, they battle it out before the
Dude,
Super Bowl.
The Eminem Taylor Swift Super Bowl. Like that. What is that? The fight?
Oh man, they might be setting us up for that, dude.
They have a wrap off? Are they gonna have a wrap off?
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna go battle at the beginning of the Super Bowl before it goes on. They're just gonna go a rap battle against each other.
Maybe we
And then
looked
Kanye
at
West will
all-
show up.
Maybe we just
Oh.
looked at this all wrong. Maybe that's what this is all about.
Oh, it
Maybe that's what's
probably
gonna
is.
happen. The
Given
Chiefs and the Lions.
the way things happen in this world, it might be. It might be the Chiefs and the Lions for Eminem and Taylor
But
Swift.
the Lions
battle.
got a Lions
Well,
win.
here we go. If it happens, we know it's rigged, right?
Right, we know it's rigged.
Because the Lions are gonna win because the draft is in Detroit this year. Just like Kansas City, it was last year.
Oh, okay.
So the draft is in Detroit this year.
Might be Detroit's year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. If you're still listening, appreciate the listens. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, don't forget to leave the comments, take the survey, listen on YouTube. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget to like. And we'll see how we do this week, guys. We'll see you guys next week.